Greetings. This video presentation is a part of a trilogy which I'm calling Probreaction. Basically, problem, reaction, solution, but in all probability. And this is perhaps the defining moment in what you would consider to be a real human and an NPC, or someone who's spiritually dead. And that is the problem, reaction, solution. But the answers are actually within. I'd like to direct you to the playlist of this channel and look for the first place to start on your journey, a reminder. You see, in this reality, which is duality, you have to have an opposition. For the bird to fly, it needs air. For the fish to swim, it needs water, and so on and so on. So imagine, if you will, you're not just in a crazy house of mirrors. You've got two mirrors that are reflecting infinitely. So whichever way you look, you're going to just be going down a rabbit hole, as it were, looking one way or the other. It's important to stay on the middle path in all this, because this is where we are, and I'll come on to that later. This is like a prelude. Whatever stage you're at, if you're questioning anything about this reality, it's a sign that you're feeling things aren't right. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, but we go with the premise that Source created everything. So the good and the bad, the knowledge of good and evil, if you like. And you've got this opposition. This is basically a game to find your way back. But think also, well, I think it's fair to say, if you look at pretty much any ancient civilization, we'll go with the official narrative, the Aztecs, the Mayans, Egyptians, whatever. I think it's pretty safe to say, and even the Vatican, with that telescope called Lucifer in Phoenix, in their observatory, or so the story goes. I don't know how true it is, but I'm just relaying the information. But it's fair to say that there's a fixation on looking upwards. And when we talk in terms of spirituality, about getting a spiritual download, it implies it's coming from above, even in that. So it's when we realise that we are co-creators and we are God, we're also looking down on something solid. Remember, we're expressed as souls, because it is a soul carrier for a spirit. And you're on two souls. There's the duality in that part for a start. But if I want to look at anything, the pattern that emerges is the same traits over and over again. Narcissism, psychopathic, parasitic, and cancerous. And no matter what you look at, be it religion, history, science, you name it, there's enough in there, like a narcissist will present themselves, a false image to lure you in. It's exactly the same way that advertising works as well. You add verse to entrance. This realm is all about distractions. This basically comes down to the atom, the particle versus the wave. Well, over 99% is wave, and we're focusing on the particle in this reality, but it is all mirrors. it may surprise a lot of you to realise that the best at recycling is the perceived evil side. There is absolutely nothing wasted, because the implication seems to be that that is all they've got. Now, there is another pattern with this. Now, if you go with the script of something like NASA, that is implying that we're nothing, we're insignificant, it's reducing us down. If you're looking at history and thinking of places like Baalbek, I think it, and looking at the architect as well, I think it's safe to say that things are being shrunk downwards and being pulled down and made smaller and made to feel smaller. So we're on the earth. Earth is an anagram of heart. It's where everything radiates out from. But when you have the negative feelings, it's expressed in sayings, oh, it sickened me to the pit of my stomach, the epitome. So there's a pull, and this is exactly what this reality is all about. It is all trying to get your attention, and it causes attention, especially in this reality where everything is given to you in a very negative mirrored form. It's almost, shall we say, the law of mirrors. Everything is shown to you twisted and reversed. Now, there's a debate between the tropical and the Western astrology, and both of them are out. They're not where they should be. I'm going to refer you over to Levet channel and have a look at the Stellarium program, and it shows you where the sun actually is in relation to when you're born, and you find out what your true star sign is, not the birth sign that you're told, depending on which astrology you go with. I believe the tropical astrology is about 5% out, and the Western astrology is 23.5 degrees out. It's roughly about the same sort of ratio if you were to take the 25th of December, the first day where the sun starts to rise. You've got a New Year's Day on January the 1st. That's 7 days after. 7 is so significant, 7 Elohim and so on. But then you've also got, it will be March the 25th, the ecclesiastical, the start of the new year, which was called Lady Day. So that's about the same sort of ratio, the 23.5 and the 5, so 7 days or 3 months. It's roughly about the same. See, everything is all just as is shown with the Masonic compasses, or another name for a compass are dividers. It's all about dividing. It's all about picking a side, getting you to jump from pillar to post, with a solar cult or a lunar cult. And remember that the world is a stage, and so much is staged, and it is carried out in stages. I've made a few notes. I'm trying to keep this as a breakdown of... We'll start with the what. They're often referred to as they or them or the system. Call it what you will. I don't think you'll ever know the name. It hides behind many masks. The last thing it wants is to be discovered. It is a predator, and just in the film, as in the film, called Predator, if you look what happens on that, he rips the spine and the skull as a trophy. That is the physical representation of the spiritual. That's basically what you are. The spine is the Jacob's ladder, and then the mind, where the imagination is. So you're shown these things in very twisted mirror forms all the time. It's all about what frequency you're on, how well you're tuned in. It matters not. Everybody's at different stages with this. So I'm just going to refer to my notes here. So yes, this contrast. For cold you need hot, red and blue, red veins for pushing out, red arteries for pushing out, and veins for pulling back in again. It's a two-way traffic. We are at the heart of it, what is also referred to as Middle Earth. But there's also, with this downward pull, it's expressed in so many ways as the fallen. Maybe that there was part of Source that decided that's the role they're going to play the opposition. This is why you can't really hate anything. That side of things seems to have sold themselves out, used all their spiritual oil, hence we have everything that's run by an oil industry. And it's basically sucking, like a vampire, another trait with all this. It's all about making you pay, throwing it back in your face. This is a repeat pattern with everything. It is comedy, it is come die, it is laughing sadistically right in our face, so close that most people just don't see it. I think back how many things I took for granted and just never really considered, and it's that thing of once you see it, you can't unsee it with so many things in this reality. I think it's also safe to say that what is being portrayed, the world is a stage, and it is in a whirl. It is continuously in change. You change currency when you go from one country to another. You get change back for everything you buy. It's constantly in change. It's an ongoing, unfolding cycle of create chaos to create order out of chaos, and this cycle just continues. Our role here is to find out who we are and what we're here for. So we are presented with an opposition for us to be able to work our way through it. So yeah, if you see the trend, it's talked of that we were once more spiritual and less physical. It's all about the pulling downward. But again, listen to the terminology. You upload a video, you download a program. We get spiritual downloads. All these terms about, notice the up and down, about ascending, about the crown. We're right in the middle of this. It follows the cycle that everything does. It does all the sine wave. It goes up and down. We're being like yo-yos, pulled one way and trying to go the other. But to get through this, it's not resisting. It's not having that tension. There's so many aspects to this. I'm trying to condense it down, so I apologise. I've been trying to get the thought processes right to try and explain this in a sort of logical sequence. So the part two, I'll talk about methods that are used and how it's not all as it appears to be, and how humanity fits into this as well. And then part three, we'll talk about ways out of it, because it all ties in and it's all going through various stages of development, of spiritual growth. But it is all, if you just look inwardly, about your physical makeup, getting to the heart of the matter. The heart is the middle chakra of the 7. It's right in the middle. It's the green, it's the natural. The opposition is doing everything in an unnatural way, trying to undo it. It is all part of this game. But don't take life too seriously, because, well, I'll come on to that in the follow-up video to this in part 2, or possibly part 3. I'll hold that bit over to part 3. So I shall say ta-ta for now.